Welcome back to our channel, where we analyze the tragic, yet complex and never-ending lives of Fairmont Crest. Today is a quiet and reflective day, and as we gaze upon the shadows enveloping the families we cherish, we invite you to sit back and peel back the heavy emotional layers of a story that seems to be sliding toward the abyss. I keep telling myself this story isn't a tragedy, but every episode makes that harder to believe. There is a suffocating weight settling over the screen lately, a creeping dread that masquerades as masterful plotting. When we look at Joey and his intricate, venomous machinations, it becomes impossible to view his actions as mere soap opera drama. This is the calculated dismantling of human souls. Joey secretly ordering Randy to approach Deanna is not just a tactical maneuver, it is a desecration of innocence. We are forced to watch a predator circle, mapping out the vulnerabilities of a family that doesn't even know it is bleeding yet. The silence in Joey's office, the empty rooms he leaves in his wake as he plots it all speaks to a man who has traded his humanity for control. The question of whether Deanna is merely a collateral target or the master key to manipulating Vanessa's entire family feels like a hollow distinction when the result is the same. A young girl's life is being weaponized. Deanna is carrying the fragile legacy of her father, Doug. She is young, she is trusting, and she is entirely unprepared for the emotional violence Joey is orchestrating. When I watch her on screen now, moving through her life with that gentle, unburdened grace, I feel a profound sense of mourning. Why does that smile feel painful now? Because we, the audience, are burdened with the agonizing knowledge of what is waiting for her in the dark. We are watching a ghost who doesn't yet know she is dead. Then there is Randy, the reluctant soldier trapped in this nightmare. Will he obediently follow every sickening command Joey issues, or will he gradually waver when faced with the reality of Deanna? Randy is a man standing at the precipice of his own moral annihilation. He looks at Deanna and sees exactly what we see, a girl too young, too pure to be dragged into this toxic underworld. More than that, she is Doug's daughter. The weight of that lineage, the unspoken respect or lingering guilt attached to Doug's memory, must surely be tearing at Randy's conscience. Watching Randy hesitate, watching the way he avoids making direct eye contact with her, is an exercise in prolonged grief. Maybe this was the last time they were truly happy. Before the deception takes root, before the first lie calcifies into a permanent barrier between them. The emotional logic of Randy's hesitation is heartbreaking. He knows he cannot hurt this young girl, yet he is bound by the invisible, suffocating chains of Joey's authority. Every interaction between Randy and Deanna is laced with an unspoken tragedy. When they share a scene, the physical distance between them feels vast, filled with the ghosts of the betrayal Randy is hiding. I wish I could ignore this detail. I wish I could look past the way Randy's hands tremble slightly when he hands her a cup of coffee, or the way he stares into the middle distance when she turns her back. It is the posture of a man who knows he is digging a grave for someone he is supposed to protect. And what of Deanna's perspective? Will she soon realize she is being used? Or will she blindly, willingly step into the steel jaws of the trap Joey has set for her? There were moments in recent episodes where she looked at Randy with such genuine warmth, such unfiltered trust. She looked happy, almost, but that almost is where the tragedy lives. It is the agonizing realization that her happiness is a manufactured illusion, a stage set designed by a sociopath. The tragedy is that her innocence is being slowly drained from her, replaced by a devastating betrayal that she cannot even see coming. If she falls into this snare, every sweet memory they build will eventually become a weapon used to destroy her. The fading smiles in their conversations, the abandoned objects left on tables after they part ways, everything feels like a monument to a doomed connection. The sadness starts making sense when you look closer. You realize that Joey isn't just trying to hurt Vanessa. He is trying to rot the foundation of her family by corrupting the purest thing in it. If Deanna gives her heart to Randy, she is giving it to a phantom, a man who only exists as an extension of Joey's malice. This brings us to Vanessa, the fierce, protective matriarch who is currently blind to the wolves at her door. If Vanessa discovers that Joey is the architect behind this sinister romance, the emotional fallout will be catastrophic. Will she confront him directly, unleashing a maternal rage that burns everything to the ground? Or will she quietly, silently plot her counterattack in the shadows? The tragedy of Vanessa is that no matter how she reacts, the damage to her family will already be done. The emotional distance between her and Deanna will widen as Vanessa tries to control a situation that is fundamentally uncontrollable. But what if the unthinkable happens? What if the lie mutates into the truth? What if Randy, despite all his orders and all his fears, genuinely falls in love with Deanna? The narrative seems to be teasing this agonizing possibility. If their feelings become real, the story shifts from a cold manipulation into a desperately doomed romance. Randy would no longer be just a pawn, he would be a man trying to save the woman he loves from the very trap he built for her. Something about this scene feels like a goodbye. Every time Randy looks at Deanna with genuine affection, it feels like he is mourning the impossibility of their future. If this love is real, will Vanessa ever accept it? The devastating truth is that she probably cannot. Vanessa's trauma and her desperate need to protect her family will blind her to any genuine connection Randy and Deanna might share. She will fiercely, ruthlessly oppose the relationship, convinced that Randy is still just a chess piece being moved by Joey. Vanessa will become the antagonist in her daughter's love story, tearing her own family apart in a misguided attempt to save it. The recurring memories of past betrayals will haunt Vanessa, forcing her to build walls that Deanna will interpret as rejection. Let us imagine the inevitable moment of Deanna's awakening. What happens when the veil is lifted, and she discovers the terrifying architecture of Joey's plot? Will she confront Randy, shattering into a million pieces, or will she do something far more tragic? Will she swallow her heartbreak, harden her soul, and pretend to remain in the trap to turn the tables? The thought of Deanna losing her innocence to become a double agent is deeply melancholic. It means Joey has won. By forcing Deanna to become deceitful, Joey has successfully corrupted the light of Doug's daughter. If Deanna attempts to turn Randy into an ally, using him to gather evidence against Joey, they will be walking on the edge of a razor. This alliance would be built on a foundation of profound trauma and unresolved guilt. Randy would be desperately trying to atone for his sins, while Deanna would be constantly battling her own lingering feelings for the man who was sent to destroy her. I can't shake this feeling. The feeling that this desperate alliance is nothing more than a death march. They are two damaged souls trying to outmaneuver a monster who thrives in the dark. This brings us to the terrifying inevitability of Randy's betrayal of Joey. Randy cannot serve two masters. Eventually, he will have to choose between his fear of Joey and his love, or at least his moral obligation to Deanna. But Joey is not a man who forgives, and he certainly does not leave loose ends. If Joey realizes that Randy has flipped, the retaliation will be swift, silent, and absolute. Will Joey move to permanently silence Randy before the truth can be dragged into the light? The anticipation of this violence is exhausting. When I watch Randy now, standing in those dimly lit rooms, staring at his phone, I see a dead man walking. Did he already know what was coming? The quiet resignation in his eyes suggests that he knows he will not survive this ordeal. He is sacrificing himself on the altar of his own conscience. If Joey kills him or destroys him completely, the empty rooms Randy leaves behind will become haunted spaces for Deanna. She will carry the unresolved guilt of his demise for the rest of her life, forever wondering if she could have saved the man who was sent to ruin her. And finally, we must look at Joey himself. Will this seemingly perfect, airtight conspiracy become the very mistake that strips him of everything? Joey's fatal flaw is his inability to account for the unpredictable nature of the human heart. He calculated the risks, he positioned the players, but he did not factor in Randy's lingering humanity or Deanna's hidden strength. Yet, even if Joey's empire crumbles, even if his plot is exposed, and he loses everything, there will be no true victory for our heroes. The ashes left behind will be too thick to breathe in. The emotional repetition of this show, the endless cycle of trust and betrayal, wears down the soul. We are watching characters we love march steadily toward an emotional collapse that feels entirely unavoidable. I don't think they're going to recover from this. The scars Joey is carving into Vanessa's family, into Deanna's heart, and into Randy's soul will never fully fade. Maybe I'm imagining connections that aren't there. Maybe I am projecting my own exhaustion onto these fictional lives, but the sadness keeps appearing. It seeps through the cracks in the dialogue, it lingers in the spaces between the music, and it paints every scene in shades of inevitable grief. The story feels like it's preparing us for something devastating, and all we can do is sit in the dark and wait for the heartbreak to arrive.